out of you. Do you feel like you could have had him then?
Well, listen, he's been in with Peter Quillen. Peter Quillen couldn't beat him. He's beat Matt Korobov. They've all had him hurt. But, you know, I knew he threatened me with his power. I've got a good chin. I'm threatening nobody's power. I'm world champion. I won't say no to no fights. But Andy Lee's a very, very good champion. I'll beat a good champion there, a good sturdy champion. But I used his power against him. Because when I was boxing,
we want to hear what he has to say about what he's going to do next. That's what we're going to talk about. That's Billy Joe Saunders, the new WBO 160-pound champion of the world.
We're actually trying to turn the monitor towards you, actually, which we have just down here, so we can actually see the knockdown.
I'm going to mute this part for now, but the question we want to hear is who's he going to fight next? Will he fight? He gets one voluntary, and then the mandatory after that is a fighter by the name of Arif Magomedov. And what we want to hear is, if he's open to fighting Danny Jacobs, the WBA World Champion next, or Gennady Golovkin, the WBC Interim, WBA Super World, and the IBF Champion next. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. Billy Joe Saunders, 23-0 with 12 KOs, just defeated Andy Lee. And we're going to talk about it. Very, very close fight, especially...
But Andy Lee, he showed that he can be dangerous. He actually caught me on the shot when I tried to finish him.
We got a lot to talk about. Please subscribe.
The Matt Korobov signs coming in.
Follow on Twitter. Like on Facebook. All my social media is right down below in the description box.
Because we could see as well how wary you were, well, the respect of both of you, but how wary you were of his left hand coming in as well.
Well, listen, you take... listen,
who is this chick? I haven't seen her before.
I said, you take the lead out away from him. You take that away from him. He's been beat 3 times. You know, some fighters just got a little bit reckless and careless. Our stage switched on.
Oh, come on. They cut it. I'm watching I should have watched it on Boxnation. I'm watching the Showtime Extreme. Okay. The fight was telecast or broadcast in the United States on Showtime Extreme, a Showtime network. And the only reason it was shown on Showtime in the United States was because of Andy Lee, not because of Billy Joe Saunders. So what we seen was Danny Jacobs had fought Peter Quillen on Showtime and scored the upset. The promoter of Danny Jacobs, or the promoter who promoted Danny Jacobs, because he's not the promoter. You know, if you don't know the Al Heyman situation and what goes on with his promoters, I don't have time to explain to you. Thank you, Al Heyman. But basically, the person, Lou DiBella, who promoted Peter Quillen versus Danny Jacobs, is also the promoter of Andy Lee. So he had something to do with Andy Lee versus Billy Joe Saunders getting on Showtime. Because Lou DiBella was also talking about matching up Andy Lee versus Danny Jacobs sometime around St. Patty's Day in New York in 2016. Danny Jacobs, WBA World, you know, the regular champion. Andy Lee, the WBO champion, would have been a unification bout of a sort. So, by the way, I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. It was not in the plans for Billy Joe Saunders to win. Now, I'm a big Billy Joe Saunders fan. I followed him since Gerald Fletcher was the first fight I ever covered. Nick Blackwell, John Ryder. I'm missing some fighters. Gary Spike O'Sullivan, Chris Eubank Jr., Emmanuel Blattamore. But the thing is, Billy Joe Saunders and okay, Frank Warren will have a plan for that belt. Billy Joe Saunders does not have to fight Golovkin. He does not have to fight Danny Jacobs. So what I'm seeing him do is, in his next fight, he's going to fight somebody likely in the top 15 of the WBO, and then fight his mandatory Magomedov sometime in the end of 2016. So I think they already have their plan set out, but how does that fare in the plans of Golovkin? Well, even though Lou DiBella, the promoter of Andy Lee, was saying that he wanted him to fight Danny Jacobs next, Andy Lee was saying that he would love to fight Golovkin. Where does this put Golovkin? Golovkin, the WBC Interim, WBA, and IBF champion. He's supposed to be fighting in March or April. Canelo, the WBC champion in the 160-pound division, is supposed to be fighting in May. So basically, you know, like, well, okay, the point I'm trying to make is this. now Golovkin's plan of wanting to be an undisputed champion is in jeopardy because Billy Joe Saunders has said often in the past that he don't feel as though he's ready for Gennady Golovkin. Tonight, he didn't look like he was ready for Gennady Golovkin. Even though I was happy that he won and he did win, still, you know, he just doesn't do enough. He didn't do enough to win. He didn't, excuse me, he didn't do enough to take the belt from the champion. Like, for example, if this fight wasn't on neutral ground, you know, he probably could have got robbed by the judges or whatever the case may be. Don't get me wrong, in my opinion, watching the fight, he beat Andy Lee, but he allowed Andy Lee to start catching up on rounds later on in the fight. You know, remember, this is a majority decision, and there's a lot of people, I'm sure, that can say, okay, I can see how this fight could have been a draw. So I don't feel right now that Billy Joe Saunders can beat a Canelo. He can't beat a Golovkin. And it's like, where does he go from here? Fight guys in the WBO rankings. You know, fight guys in the top 15 of the WBO. You know, Andy Lee, on the other hand, I don't know where Andy Lee, he always seems to rebuild his career after a loss. So, you know, and he's always a good fighter to fight, but his right hand just was missing. And also, Billy Joe Saunders is known to be somewhat of a light puncher, you know, even though he has 12 KOs, but he knocked Andy Lee down something vicious in the third round. You know, and it was at one point in time, I thought the fight was going to be over, especially if there was another 20 seconds or so left in a round. So, you know, Andy Lee, like the right hand is, you know, is no myth. And Andy Lee is a fighter who's no stranger to the canvas, but he just didn't, you know, he just wasn't active enough. You know, this was a fight that was supposed to be a war, or was billed as being a war, and it just was a boxing match where, you know, Andy Lee got slightly outboxed. And if it wasn't for the knockdowns, Billy Joe Saunders would have lost the fight by not doing enough. So, I don't know. It's a tough fight to call. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe.